It started on a Monday. By Thursday, everyone in the house had a theory about what the Husky was doing. Every single theory was wrong. He was trying to show them something. They just kept looking at the dog instead of where the dog was pointing. Kodiak was a 4-year-old Siberian Husky, grey and white, ice pale eyes, 68 pounds of animal that had never in his life been described as subtle. He was the kind of dog who communicated in full volume. The 5 a.m. wake-up announcement, the window rattling enthusiasm for the leash. He was not a quiet presence, which made the thing he was doing on Monday impossible to categorize. He was quiet, focused, and he kept doing it regardless of what anyone said. The baby, Theo, was 10 months old. He had recently discovered that the couch cushions could be pulled with both hands, which opened a whole territory of things that lived between and beneath them. Dust, crumbs, the occasional remote control. On Monday afternoon, Theo crawled toward the right end of the couch and began the excavation project that occupied him most afternoons. Kodiak crossed the room, positioned himself beside the child, and using his nose, gently redirected the boy's trajectory away from the right cushion. Not rough, deliberately gentle, the nose pressing against the baby's shoulder to turn him. Theo thought this was the best possible game and immediately turned back. Kodiak redirected him again. Theo's dad, Vincent, watched this happen 4 times before he intervened. Kodiak let him be. The Husky looked at Vincent with the flat, serious expression that had earned him the nickname Old Man and stepped aside. Theo went immediately for the right cushion. Kodiak moved back into position and redirected him again. Vincent said Kodiak was bored. His wife, Layla, said Kodiak was hurting, a remnant instinct finding an outlet with the baby. Her mother, who was visiting, said the dog wanted to play and didn't know how to start. These were 3 different explanations from 3 people who knew the dog, and none of them were looking at where Kodiak kept pointing. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Tuesday, same behavior. Wednesday, Vincent relocated Kodiak to the study during Theo's floor time. Kodiak scratched at the door twice, then went quiet. Theo made straight for the right couch cushion. When Vincent let Kodiak back out, the dog returned to the same position, same motion, same deliberate nose nudge to turn the child. Vincent filmed 45 seconds of it and sent it to his brother with the caption, "At least he's gentle about it." Thursday morning, Theo woke early and was on the living room floor with Layla before 7 a.m. She was sitting on the left end of the couch with coffee, watching him work across the rug. He pulled himself up against the right couch end and got both hands into the gap between the back cushion and the seat. Kodiak moved from across the room to the child's side, in one motion. Not fast enough to alarm, but faster than usual. Layla set her coffee down. She watched Kodiak position his muzzle against Theo's wrist to redirect him, and she watched Theo's hand come back with something between his fingers. A small silver disc, flat, barely the diameter of a pencil eraser. A button battery from the television remote, which had been behind the couch cushion since the remote's battery compartment had loosened 3 weeks earlier. No one had noticed. It was exactly the right size to lodge in the throat of a 10-month-old. If swallowed, a button battery at that diameter begins generating an electrical current against esophageal tissue within 30 minutes. The resulting chemical burn is irreversible within 2 hours. Layla got it out of his hand. She sat on the floor and held him for a moment before she moved. Then she lifted the cushion. There was a second battery behind it, same size, same disc. The remote's battery compartment had shed both. Dr. Irina Volkov, pediatric safety specialist, told them at the follow-up appointment 2 weeks later that button battery ingestion in children under 1 was one of the 5 most serious household emergencies in her field. She said, "You got there in time, but I want you to understand how short the window actually is. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard." They haven't found a clear scientific explanation for how Kodiak knew what was behind the cushion. Dogs can detect the specific metallic and chemical compound signature of certain battery types through their scent receptors. The battery had been there 3 weeks. The scent had been there the same amount of time. Every day since Theo had started reaching toward that area of the couch, Kodiak had been telling them what was there. Nobody had thought to flip the cushion. Vincent replaced all the battery compartments in the house that same afternoon. He sat on the floor with Kodiak that evening and didn't say anything for a long time. Kodiak put his head on Vincent's knee and looked at Theo on the rug across the room, the same way he always looked at the boy. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never ask for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Kodiak doesn't circle the right cushion anymore. He doesn't need to. What he was pointing at for 4 days is gone. He's back to the leash announcement and the 5 a.m. wake up, which Vincent now says he will never complain about again. The next story is about what a dog refused to let a family walk past. 3 days before anyone understood, what it was trying to say.